Do you think any of the Warriors players are untouchable, untradeable? They're going to be a Warrior for life until their contract is over. Steph, Dre, Kuminga, Moody, Brandon, TJD? Well, Steve Kerr spoke and he named his untouchable player or players. We're going to break down what he said and why he said it. That's topic one on this episode of Warriors Digest. Secondly, a 3-team trade was proposed by Bleacher Report. If the Warriors don't get Lauri Markkanen, this is who the Warriors should go for and how they can make it happen. We're going to break it down for you on this episode of Warriors Digest. Randy Silver here. Thank you all for all the love, the comments, the views. We're almost at 5,000 fans subscribed. If you're watching this and you're not part of the 12% subscribed, please hit subscribe. Help us grow Warriors Digest to 5,000 fans. You'll be part of the community with people such as Luke123 Podcast. This channel makes me still watch NBA. Been following you since last year. I hope you reach 1 million subs. I'm watching you every Dubs news from Philippines. Luke from the Philippines, thank you so much. You're part of the live stream, avid commenter. We really appreciate it here. Janet King 7712. I love listening to your YouTube channel from Toronto, Canada. It's awesome work you do. Love my Golden State Warriors. Janet, we love you being here. So we got the Philippines, Canada, and now we're going over to Vietnam. User TL3YL2TF63. Subscribe, Vietnam. Thank you so much for being in. And lastly, Real Talk Scoop, Golden Nugget. Haha, that's why you're my favorite Warriors news channel. Love the channel, man. Thank you. And that's from a video a couple days ago. Made a nice little play on words. So we have a whole community here. If you're not part of the 4,800 plus subscribed, we'd love you to join as we get into today's episode. So again, what did Steve Kerr say? Steph Curry is the only Warriors player not discussed in NBA trade talks. I'm sure you probably guessed that. Maybe also, why not Kuminga? Moody, TJD, Brandon? Let's break down what he said. Kerr appeared on the Willard and Dibbs show and noted that Curry was the only player who the Warriors wouldn't even entertain trade talks on the offseason. His quote, "There's very few players in the league who are not talked about in trade discussions. Steph Curry is not being talked about in trade talks. Everybody else is. If you went down the list of NBA teams, the Los Angeles Lakers probably aren't talking to anybody about LeBron. Everybody's got maybe one or two guys who are off the table. So the vast majority of players in the NBA are going to be discussed in the trade talks because everyone's trying to improve their team." So that means a lot. Again, pretty not surprising quote, but still, I've seen a lot of comments. We should trade Steph, get a bunch of trade assets back, and go straight for a rebuild. He brought up LeBron James, OKC, probably not trading Shea. Wolves are not trading Anthony Edwards. Denver is not trading Nikola. You go to the East, Jason Tatum just got the bag. He's not being traded. So a couple of players each team at the most will not be traded. But that also helps verify what we've heard with other conversations around who? Paul George. Was Kuminga offered? Was he not? Conflicting rumors. So that would make sense if a player of that stature who the Warriors want and Kuminga's in it, gone. Zach LaVine? Maybe. Who would you give up for Zach LaVine? Anybody but Steph. Brandon Ingram? Lauri Markkanen. So this is showing you, hey, that Curry really is the only player who's untouchable. And that takes us to what the topic 2 is, talking about a 3-team trade. But before we get there, the obvious subtext here is that the players like Draymond Green, Wiggins, Kuminga, among others, could be moved if the right deal is presented to Golden State. That doesn't mean they're actively shopping any of them, but that assures you that Curry is here to stay. And that may mean that they will extend him this offseason to take his deal from 2 years left to 3. Or maybe they will wait, but Curry right now is off limits. So that's the obvious subtext here. Everybody else, if the trade is right, they'd be willing to make it. In a 3-team trade to move Brandon Ingram to land Zach LaVine for Golden State is in potential motion. Per Bleacher Report, again, this is not something that we've heard from a reporter, but the trade would be Chicago Bulls receive Brandon Ingram, Andrew Wiggins, Golden State receive Zach LaVine. New Orleans Pelicans receive Nikola Vucevic, Gary Payton II, Kevon Looney, a 2025 first round pick, a 2028 and 2029 second round pick. So let's go over this. And again, we're going to go over each team, who would give up what, and why would they do this. So we're going to break this down for the rest of this video. It's very interesting. The Bulls receive Brandon Ingram and Andrew Wiggins. Not bad for them. They're rebuilding. So Ingram, are they going to try to extend him as he goes into his final year? Wiggins has 3 years left, but Wiggins' contract is significantly less than LaVine's. So they would be saving money. Warriors, we get that second scorer we need. New Orleans, they have McCollum. They have Zion. They just traded this season for Dejounte Murray from the Hawks. Gave up a couple first-round picks. And, of course, Ingram is going to want his bag. But when you have those three players, someone's the odd man out, and that's Ingram. Especially when you look at this report and how much money he wants. Ingram wants a 4-year, $208 million max extension tacked on his expiring $36 million contract, per the Athletic's William Guillory. 4 years, $208 million. $52 million a year is what he's looking for. Because of the new salary cap rules, Pelicans don't have enough room to sign him based off of the players they already have signed in the contract and who they will need to extend. Bulls, if they trade LaVine, that makes space. Warriors, that's a lot of money. You can't do that much money with Steph and Dre, what they're getting paid. You only can have three players kind of getting top dollar. Or, in addition, either or, Kuminga needs to get his bag. Markkanen, if you're making that trade. But again, this isn't in case that doesn't happen. The Bulls are officially rebuilding, following DeMar DeRozan and Caruso trades. Shedding LaVine's remaining 3-year, $138 million contract would help that process. So basically $43-ish million per year is what LaVine is getting. Am I saying that right? No, it's closer to 45. A lot of money for someone who doesn't play a lot. And if the Bulls are rebuilding and they can get Ingram on an expiring contract, maybe he resigns, maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't, great. Then you have so much cap room with LaVine gone and no Ingram contract. So that's why the Bulls get Ingram and Wiggins. Wiggins, he's still owed $86 million over 3 years. If he's there for the long haul, they can't trade him away after that. It's not that bad, especially with the new media deal coming in. Salary caps are expected to go bonkers. I don't even put a number at. This year it's at $180 million, expected to be well over $200 million. It's a small contract at that point. Bulls lose LaVine, again a contract. Nikola Vucevic, they don't really need him at this point because they're not competing. Let him go to a team that needs a center. A 2025 first round pick, lottery protected via Portland Trailblazers, 28-29 second round picks. So they will lose some draft picks, but they will gain back salary space to be able to build around their young core they currently have and maybe go get a star or two. It's a win-win for Chicago per BR. Again, if Ingram doesn't fit, holds out for max or gets hurt, boom, $36 million off the book. Lonzo Ball, his contract is up too, so they would gain $58 million in salary space next season. That's massive. $58 million in salary space, especially with DeRozan gone. Chicago would only have $90.1 million guaranteed. They can extend Giddey, but then their core would be a bunch of young players, and they could try to get LeBron. Probably not. Jimmy will be a free agent coming out of Miami. Markkanen, if he doesn't get the extension. Jamal Murray, but most likely he is extended with Denver. Julius Randle, what happens with the Knicks. Miles Turner, Aaron Gordon, and others. The Bulls, again, take on Wiggins' deal, but he's owed $54 million less over 3 years than LaVine. $84.7 million compared to $138. So as the dust settles, the core will be Kobe White, Ingram, Patrick Williams, Giddey, Matthias Buzelis, excuse me if I said that wrong, Jalen Smith, Ayo Dosunmu, and all players are under 26 years old. So that's a pretty decent young core, not making any any real big moves, but you can build around that and you have plenty of cap space to move forward. So that's why Chicago would make that trade. Warriors. We receive Zach LaVine and lose Wiggins, Payton, and Looney. Payton and Looney are both on expiring contracts, 1 year left. Both are around $9 million, so that would free up $18 million in cap space. Wiggins is owed, I want to say it's $26 million. So you put 18 plus, say, 25, puts you at 53 in 43, 43. It's late trying to do some basic math for you. And Zach LaVine's contract, we said, is basically $43 million. So because the Warriors are hard capped at that first apron, they have to get the same amount of salary back that they would give out. In addition, Zach LaVine's a better scorer. Is he better defender than Wiggins? Not when Wiggins is playing his best. But he can give Curry that second scorer we need. And as a result, if Golden State can't make the Markkanen trade, this is why Bleacher Report says this would be a really good trade for the Warriors. Wiggins, GP2, and Looney match up perfectly with LaVine's $43 million, like I said. LaVine, still, is he worth it? Hurt. Wiggins, he's coming back, coming off of 2 disappointing years. Can he still play? And LaVine can be a player to slide into Klay Thompson's spot. He averaged 25 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 38% shooting from 3 over the past 4 seasons in Chicago. A pair of all-star games, but he's got to stay healthy. His contract is hefty, although the Warriors aren't in luxury tax hell anymore after waiving Paul and his non-guaranteed $30 million salary. The Warriors actually saved $400,000 with this trade, moving them about $1 million below the first apron. And that is big. Again, we are hard capped at that first apron. So that would actually save us a bit of money to potentially go get somebody at the trade deadline, be able to make another trade of that nature, free agent, something of that nature. Starting five, Steph, LaVine, Kuminga, Dre, and Trayce Jackson-Davis. Steph, let me do this so you can see it. Steph, LaVine, Kuminga, Green, Trayce Jackson-Davis. That is a solid starting five. You got scoring, you got agility, acceleration, defense. Now, is LaVine going to stay healthy? If he doesn't, then Brandon slides back in to the guard position and starts. If not, he's your sixth man off the bench, being able to take LaVine out, take out Curry, and helps anchor that second team like Chris Paul did this season. You got Hield coming in for 3. Melton can shoot, play defense. Anderson, all-around player. Moody, he may fall deeper in the bench and not get the playing time, so expect him to potentially get traded in that case if he's not playing a lot, because they don't want him to walk for free. But they got a deep bench in this core. Is this team winning a championship? I don't think so. That's a tough ask, but it's not the end of the world if this is the team that we roll out. So that's why Warriors would do this if you can't get Lowry Markkanen, and you keep Kuminga, which I think is the biggest part. That takes you to the third team, Pelicans. They receive Nikola excuse me, I'm having trouble with this name. Vucevic, Gary Payton II, Looney, 2025 first round pick, 2028, 2029 second round picks, and Pelicans lose Ingram. The Pels don't have a lot of leverage. Teams are scared to give Ingram a max deal. New Orleans already has a backup in place in Trey Murphy III and won't be able to keep all his pieces together. They need a center after Jonas Valanciunas left in the offseason to go to Washington. So that means, boom, Vucevic is the perfect solution. He can play center and give them an all-star, former all-star. They don't have to worry about paying Ingram long-term, and they will get $17.1 million in expiring money with Payton and Looney coming off the books next season. The Pels get 3 draft picks in the deal, including a first-rounder, after they sent 2 first-round picks to Atlanta Hawks in a deal for Murray. They now have a very solid team competing in the West. So their starting 5 would be Murray, McCollum, Herbert Jones, Williams, and Vucevic, with Murphy, Albedo, Hawkins, Payton, Looney, and Missy coming off the bench. That is a very, very formidable team. And if Zion plays to his level, he really hasn't played out that number 1 pick level. That is a scary team. Memphis should be better this season with Ja coming back. Rockets will be better with another year of experience and what they've been doing. So the Warriors, that makes us better. But are we better than a playing team still? I don't know. Sacramento got DeRozan. So the West has gotten better. The only team that maybe you could say got worse are the Clippers because they lost, obviously, Paul George to the Sixers. And they got Derrick Jones Jr. to come in. But is he really going to elevate that team? It's going to be tough in the West. If we don't get Markkanen, then you know what? I do agree. I think this is a decent trade because when you look at it in terms of salary, we're not getting any back. We're actually getting salary cap relief. Hate to lose Looney. Hate to lose GP2. Melton can try to cover that a bit. You got Beekman. What can he do as a rookie, potentially helping on the defense? And then again, you got the people we brought in. I just mentioned Melton. You got Hield. You got Anderson. Can they come in and make up the guard position without Klay Thompson there? Wiggins not being there anymore. But it's not a bad idea. So Warriors fans, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please let me know if you think this is a good trade, a bad trade. Of course, subscribe to Warriors Digest. Be part of this community. Help us hit 5,000 more fans. Bye, y'all.